All right, so now we're going to go into the block dimensional foil placement. So what I like about this one is this one's very cool because it's none of the foils are actually going to go around the hairline except for the baby lights at the end. So this is a really good way of showing that natural beauty to somebody that wants to add some different, but really a different look, but not really have to go too far into something overly bold. But at the same time, if you do have a client that does more of a bolder look, you can absolutely make this a bolder look. So that's one thing that I do love about all of our collections is how customizable they are. And so today, with the foliage that we did first, we talked about how that one can be different and how that one can be a little bit more bold and more customizable. So now we're going to go into the blocked dimension, which we'll do now. So this is going to be a foil placement. So what we're going to do is so the foundation that we've already started out, we were talking about the foundation, the anchor, and the accents. So for this particular look, we have used the foundation as a 7CG. So this is going to be a 7, which is a dark blonde copper gold base. So you see that beautiful copper as your primary tone, and the secondary reflection is that gold. So this is going to be very beautiful. So I actually love copper, so I'm very excited about showing you this one because I do love the vibrancy of copper. So this is going to be good. So we have already done our foundation. So we could easily have done this at the same time as doing the foil placement, but we've already got this going on ahead of time. So if your client comes in, you can absolutely do like the retouch on their new growth, as well as putting in your foil placements. So to go into it, first we're going to use a comb. So this is going to be a part specific style for using the foil placement. So wherever your client does their part, so if they do a center part, you're going to have to do the top diamond section that you can see that's in your application cards that every one of you has. The diamond on the top is going to be based off of the part. So since my client does part her hair off a little bit to the side, we want to make sure that that part stays in the middle of our section. So we're going to go ahead and do our diamond. We're going to go right from the point, from the peak of her part, because we're not going to pull in the hairline. So we're going to go back, and we're going to do a skinnier, a smaller, slender diamond. It's not going to be a very thick, bold diamond, and you'll see why in a little bit. So we're going to take this and we're going to go back to the apex. So the apex is where the head actually is the highest point of the head. So we're going to take this section here. Let's make it a little larger. And it is very important to make sure that your parts are nice and clean, because this is going to be where you're basing all of your style off of, is your parts. So you need to make sure that that you part with a purpose. So I'll sharpen that up a little bit. So we will take and clip this. All right, so you can see here we've got this nice diamond shape on the top. And it goes back to the apex. So now we're going to take from the apex, from the back of the part, so the very back of the diamond, we're going to take and we're going to do a part directly from there to behind the ear. So what I like to do is hold my comb with one finger and put my finger where I want it to go, because our body always knows where our body is. We have a nice part. Our body always finds our body. So I'm just going to take and clip this out of the way. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So we're going to go right behind client's ear. And so now we have this larger section in the back. So what we're going to do is we are going to go from the point that we made here behind the ear down to the nape of the neck. Just got to make sure we get to the nape of our client's neck. And we will repeat on the other side. So then we're going to take and clip this out of the way. Once I do that, I'll show you exactly what the diamond shape looks like. All right, so you can see we have this diamond on the top. Now we have a diamond on the back. So we have these pieces out here. We have these pieces out here. So this is where we get that blocked from, because we've got larger blocks for our dimension. So I'm using two different formulas right now. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be incorporating highlights and lowlights. So we are going to use two different accents. So our accent is going to be what pulls contrast off and brings your attention to another part. So it can be either a highlight or a low light. So we're going to actually incorporate both of them. So for the first one I'm going to be using our cream lightener for Simply Blonde, and I've got it with 20 volume. This is going to give us a lot of lift and still condition the hair as it lifts. My low light, I have 3/4 of the 6C and 1/4 of 8C. And this is going to be my low light. So this is going to be just a little bit darker than her base because her base is a 7. So it's going to be a little bit darker. It's going to get that nice, beautiful contrast of a little darker than a 7. And it's going to be more copper versus copper gold. So it's going to really bring that nice contrast. So we're going to start in the back section. So we're going to go directly this way. So we're going to take our section. And remember earlier we talked about the different applications of elements. So we are going to use the elements of design in this. So we have our weave, our slice, our skip slice, and our micro skip. So for this I'm going to be utilizing just a weave. So we're going to take this top section here and we are going to do a weave. And this is going to be our highlight. We're going to apply our cream lightener into our foil. Nice saturation. Feather towards the top so we know we don't have a harsh line. Close up our foil. We're going to take this and we're going to pull it up. We're going to clip that. And then right here across the bottom, the part that we had already taken out of our weave, we're going to do a micro weave. So what this is going to do is it's going to be very fine, like you can see how much, it's very little. So what this is going to do is it's going to really show boldness off of the back of that highlight, and it's still going to show the contrast of the lighter color under it. So it's going to be a beautiful low light to really give some nice contrast. So not only are we using two different formulas, we're also using two different of the application, the elements for the two different types of weaves of the foil pattern. We're going to put that down. So this is one panel set. So you're going to hear me say this a couple times about panel sets. Each panel set is going to be a highlight and then the low light under it. So in this area in the back here, you can see it goes to about here. So we're just going to keep going vertical this way. We're going to work all the way over to here. For this section, if you want it more, this is where you can easily make it customizable. You can go a little bit heavier. It's going to give you more dimension. Or you can do a little bit lighter. You can go anywhere from about, I would say, 4 sets, 3 sets, to all the way to 6 and 7 sets, depending on how much boldness and how much dimension you want. Also, you can also do, like this visit, do all of your foils this way, and the next visit you can do your foils back across the opposite way, which is going to give even more of the diffusion, more of the dimension, more of the different colors and the different depths. But for right now, we're going to go across and we're going to do, I'd say, about 3 to 4 sections. So we'll start on one section and we're going to do the same exact thing. So we're going to do our weave. You want to make sure you really get that saturation in there really good, because you don't want any splotchy highlights. You want that nice saturation. And then again, we're going to take and clip this up out of the way. Just going to take cut that was left out. For the micro weave. And we're going to add our low light. And we have another complete panel set. So I'm going to go ahead and work across, do about 2 more panel sets. I think that's about a good amount for the back of here to start her out. So what this is doing is taking and really diffusing that section back. And you can see that we've done this section in a very short amount of time, but what it's really doing is breaking up a lot of that darkness in the back of our client's hair. You know, that you don't want that too much of that darkness, but you want to add a little bit of depth and dimension back there without adding, you know, a ton of foils. And so far we've only done 8 foils, and that's 4 high, 4 lows. But also nothing has gone around the perimeter of our client's hairline. So what that's doing is it's not causing any line marks across the back of their hair if they pull their hair up into a bun, or if they pull their hair up a lot, you don't have those lines across the back. So now this section's done, we are going to go ahead and go to our top section. So what we're going to do is, you can see right here, we have our diamond across here. We're going to go ahead and take this section here, and we're going to start with our panel sets. So just like in the back, we're going to take and do our weave. Use this across the top. We're going to do our highlight across here. And under this one, we're going to go ahead and clip this one up. We're going to take that weaved part, and we're going to do a micro weave. And this is going to be our low light right under our highlight. So just the same thing that we did on the back, we're now going to replicate across the top. And we're actually going to follow the whole way around that diamond shape with the panel sets. Drop this. So now we're going to move to this section here. And we're going to take and do our weave highlight. And then our low light under it. So we're just going to continue this on the other side the same way. We're going to do the highlight under the low light. We are breaking up all of that flat monochromatic, adding lots of dimension. So I'm going to quickly go ahead, just repeat on the other side, our foil placement. All right, so now that we finished the top section here, we've done our one panel under each side. We're actually going to go back in, and we're going to do one more set. Since this was on the bottom part that was outside of this part, we're going to do one more set on the interior of this part. So it's going to give a little bit more of a jagged edge across the top. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to take one highlight section, and under that section, we're going to do the low light. We're going to do our micro weave. We're going to repeat that on each section on the interior of the diamond on the top. Going to work our way back around just like we did before. This is where I would say I would be very vigilant about the size of the weave, making them nice and then, because you have to think this is where your part is, so your part's going to come across right through here. So depending on where your brightness is, you always want to like envision exactly when you put your foil in, what that foil is going to do. How is that going to fall? How is it going to go across? Is it going to go across the part? Is it going to go in the interior? Is it going to go towards the exterior? So you really need to just focus and envision where those are, because everything needs to be done with a purpose. Every time you pick up a piece of hair, it's done with a purpose. And then our last foil set for the top goes right here in the front. All right, and from here, we're just going to go to the sides. We're going to take our front panel out because we were working only in our interior panel. So here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do our panel sets, but we're going to only do about 2 on each side because there's not a lot of space to work with. We'll do our second panel on this side. Second panel set. And just like the back, this is going to break up the interior of the sides of our client's head right at our parietal ridge. So it's going to give that nice break to really cut into that depth and add more dimension. Put a low light in. Then we're going to go to the opposite side, and we are going to work in the same subsection. We're going to take the front hairline out. You can see here. We're going to work on our interior. We'll do about the same. We'll do about 2 on this side because she's got a lot of foils in her hair already. So we'll do about 2. Then we're going to do our panel, our small low light under this one as well. So we're going to replicate the exact same thing on this side that we did on her left side. We're going to move up and we'll do one more panel set. Our micro weave. I'm sorry, we'll do our weave for our highlight again. And under this one, we're going to do our left light. Alright, so now that we are done with all of our foil placement, this is where we're going to go back through here and we're going to do some baby lights around her face. So you can do as much or as little as your client wants. Again, this is all about customization. So we can do a little bit heavier baby lights, we can do a little bit finer baby lights. It's completely up to what your client is looking for. Feather this in. And then do one on the side. So this is going to give her a little bit more brightness around her face. Because, you know, we all want that little bit of brightness around our face. It helps show some youth, some freshness, some life. It adds a little bit more that beautiful sun-kissed look, that dimension. So like I said, you can go as small or as big. It depends on your clients. I have a lot of clients that want a lot of baby lights around their face, and sometimes even highlights around their face. Sometimes they just want a little bit sun-kissed look. So it all just depends on exactly what your client's needs are, because this is, like I said, fully customizable to whatever your client is looking for. color across the top. It's our last baby light. Alright, and that's all her foils. So see all the foils that she's got in her hair. So this is going to give her lots of dimension. It's a very nice, easy way of putting the foils in. And it's going to be across the top part. It's going to open up and kind of give a blanket layer over all the top of this. This is going to be really awesome. She's going to process for, the color will process for 30 minutes for the low lights. The high lift, the cream lightener for the Simply Blonde can process for up to 45 minutes. And I will shampoo her out. Once we shampoo and condition, then I'm going to go back in. I'm going to do a glaze. I'm going to do half 8C and half clear. And we're going to have all this blonde. It's going to be that really nice, beautiful coppery tone. It's going to really reflect the copper out of her formula for her foundation. So it's going to be very exciting. I hope that, I'm sure you can always use this on a lot of your clients. And I'm hoping that you had that aha moment of, as we're going through it, of that person of like, oh man, this would be perfect on so-and-so, or this would be great for what they were talking about that they couldn't really explain what they wanted, or really show the natural beauty and cheekbones out of my clients and the eyes and colors and things like that. So this is a very beautiful way of really accenting your client's best features. And that is what we do as hairstylists. We are to accentuate the beauty of our clients.